Teacher, Ghost Graveyard. What is this? After a moment, Xiao asked in a daze as he looked at the terrifying graveyard before him. To think the chaos attribute of the Earth Spirit Tower is so mysterious, it actually sent you here. The Ghost Graveyard is one of the rare peculiar locations in the Ghost Realm. In the 7 realms, each realm possesses an incredibly mysterious blessed land, which is said to hold the ultimate secrets of their respective domains. Apart from these, there are also many enigmatic locations. Though dangerous, such places are brimming with tremendous opportunities. The Ghost Graveyard is slightly inferior to a blessed land, but it too is filled with both dangers and chances. I recall that within the Ghost Graveyard, there seems to exist an immensely powerful ghost ruler. While it might not be considered a supreme being, it's not something you can underestimate in your current state. Its strength is truly terrifying. If you could defeat and subdue it, your soul power would surely ascend to a whole new level, the Devourer of Souls explained abruptly. A ghost ruler? Huh? Listening to the explanation, Xiao gaze fixed on the crimson tombstone at the graveyard's peak, and he murmured softly to himself. Ghosts are unique to the ghost realm, akin to soul forms but mutated. Even so, their power is unfathomable. A moment later, the Devourer of Souls spoke again. Let's go up and take a look. Xiao nodded slightly, and brilliant soul power emanated from his body as he began to move. Interestingly, the ground of this graveyard consisted mostly of black soil, which seemed to exude a particularly unusual energy. Even Xiao felt uneasy as his feet stepped on it, as if a chilling force lay dormant beneath the black soil. These tombstones. It seems the figures buried beneath these tombstones and graves were once mighty powerhouses. But why would they be laid to rest here? Xiao moved cautiously, skillfully avoiding the tombstones and graves. Without fully understanding the layout of the graveyard, he was naturally wary of disturbing them. Despite the graves being only tens of meters wide, the tombstones bore cryptic inscriptions that hinted at hidden truths. Whoosh whoosh. A gust of eerie wind swept through, carrying with it strange, unsettling sounds that began to fill the ghost graveyard. What's that sound? Xiao immense soul power sensed something, and he furrowed his brows, warily scanning the surroundings. Rumble. Moments later, threads of ghostly energy detached from countless gray tombstones, roaring toward Xiao from all directions. Although each thread of ghostly energy was weak, their combined force, numbering in the hundreds or thousands, was enough to astonish him. This can't be happening. Seeing the waves of ghostly energy charging at him, a trace of panic surged in Xiao heart. He muttered to himself, realizing the energy contained within these ghostly threads far exceeded what he could handle at the moment. Time to act. I think we've been discovered. Let's finish off the King of Ghosts quickly. That way, we can proceed to the next layer. My senses tell me that the 7 Resurrection Soul Lamp is located here. This trip to the Earth Spirit Tower won't be easy, the Devourer of Souls said. Understood. Xiao nodded slowly at those words, ghostly echoing heavenly illusions. With a cold snort that sounded like an eagle's cry, the ghostly energy filling the area suddenly fell silent. Moments later, it retreated. Let's move, urged the Devourer of Souls. Within the ghost graveyard, the auras of the ordinary tombstones and graves were relatively weak. Xiao immortal realm-level soul power unleashed such a devastating attack that they had no choice but to retreat into silence. However, at the graveyard's peak, something seemed to be slowly awakening. Thud. After forcing back the ghostly energy, Xiao resumed his steps, bypassing the tombstones and graves, heading directly toward the graveyard's core, the Crimson Tombstone. Through his senses, Xiao could tell that this Crimson Tombstone at the core was the key to unraveling the ghost graveyard. However, even with his immortal realm-level soul power, approaching the Crimson Tombstone filled his heart with a deep sense of dread. Buzz! After a moment, Xiao reached the core of the ghost graveyard, his gaze locked onto the Crimson Tombstone. Lady Du, born in the ghost realm, perished in the ghost realm. She once assisted the Devourer of Souls in subjugating hundreds of continents beneath the soul-devouring domain, but later disappeared without a trace. The words, "Devourer of Souls," inscribed on the tombstone, sent a terrifying shock through Xiao. It seemed as though his master had some connection to the ghostly figure before him. "I'll add some spice." Whoosh, whoosh. Watching Xiaoyan's intense focus, the Devourer of Souls flicked his finger, launching a formidable surge of energy directly at the crimson tombstone. Swoosh, swoosh. As the attack neared the tombstone, it was effortlessly reflected by a mirror-like force. However, in the next instant, a sinister and powerful aura seeped from the crimson tombstone, while the aura of the Devourer of Souls mysteriously vanished. "Damn!" Xiao cursed inwardly at his master's antics, realizing the Devourer of Souls had intentionally set him up. From here on, he would have to rely on himself. Hee, a little 4-star Docian at the early stage dares to venture into my ghost graveyard? Young one, are you here to be a snack for your elder sister? Suddenly, a playful yet chilling voice echoed through the space. Good thing it's not a 5-star Docian. That would have been trouble, Xiao thought, feeling a sense of relief. Ghosts were eerie creatures, mutated soul entities, and Xiao had no prior experience combating such beings. This made dealing with them exceptionally tricky. However, if this ghost was below the 5-star Docian level, Xiao believed he had a chance of prevailing using his many techniques. What overwhelming soul power! Though its strength isn't immense, its soul power far surpasses mine. This opponent won't be easy to defeat. Xiao eyes scanned the surroundings, trying to locate the source of the voice, but to no avail. Young one, I sense some peculiar fluctuations from you. Leave now. I don't want to become your enemy because you won't be able to defeat me. After a moment, the ethereal voice sounded again, now carrying a warning laced with unmistakable authority. The immense soul power it radiated left no doubt of its immortal realm level. So powerful, Xiao murmured as he sensed the expanding soul power. Clang. Suddenly, a crimson-clad figure emerged from within the tombstone. The instant she appeared, the space fell eerily silent, as if awaiting the return of its queen. Suspended in the still void, her presence exuded a terrifying aura of danger. The Ghost Queen? Xiao gasped at the sight of the crimson-robed woman. Her face was veiled in a thin gauze, concealing her features, but her graceful and alluring figure was enough to leave one in awe. Beneath her enchanting curves lay a destructive power capable of annihilation. Leave. The crimson figure glanced briefly at Xiao and shook her head. For some reason, Xiao subtle aura felt familiar to her. Yet, she only recognized acquaintances from the soul-devouring domain. In the ferocious soul domain, no one should have known her, which left her puzzled. With a hint of reluctance, she spoke, deciding not to unleash her usual slaughter. Senior, though it's presumptuous, I must break through this place today. Forgive my offense. Xiao clasped his hands respectfully before unleashing a dazzling surge of soul power that swirled around him like tidal waves. Brimming with fighting intent, he prepared for battle. From certain cryptic words on the crimson tombstone, he inferred that this figure shared an extraordinary connection with his master, the Devourer of Souls, and decided to test her. Wait, young one, I sense something ancient in your aura, which is why I've held back. However, this is my territory. If you refuse to leave and initiate an attack, we will engage in a true fight to the death, and I will show no mercy. The crimson figure's voice turned icy, radiating an endless chill filled with murderous intent. Soul Serpent of the Spirit Palace. Xiao disregarded her warning, summoning his immense soul power. Within him, his spirit palace trembled violently. In Xiao soul sea, his 9-layered spirit palace shimmered. The first layer filled to the brim with powerful soul energy, emitting a brilliant ghostly glow. In mere moments, a colossal soul serpent materialized before him. The soul python had just emerged, carrying an extremely terrifying aura. Threads of ghostly radiance wrapped around Xiao and then it fixed its ferocious gaze on the red-clothed figure before it. Seemingly acting on instinct, it could sense the immense power radiating from her, making it wary. Soul power at the mid-stage of the immortal realm Great Void? The red-clothed figure spoke with a trace of surprise as she observed the brilliant soul python surrounding Xiao. Evidently, she had not expected Xiaoyan's soul power to have reached this level. The number of levels in a spirit palace determines the future limits of one's soul power. For most ordinary experts, their spirit palaces range between 4 and 7 levels. Those capable of forming an 8-layer spirit palace are exceedingly rare in the Great Thousand Worlds. As for a 9-layer spirit palace, there are perhaps only a handful in existence across the entire Great Thousand Worlds. The legendary 10-layer spirit palace, however, exists only in myths. It is said that a 10-layer spirit palace grants transcendental soul power, and when ignited, it holds the power to destroy or create dimensions and domains in the blink of an eye. Attack! Following a brief pause, Xiao commanded his spirit palace to mobilize. Instantly, the soul python, with a ferocious expression, roared as it charged toward the ghost queen. The soul python, covered in ghostly light, ignited the ghost graveyard in an instant. Like a brilliant galaxy, its extreme and terrifying soul power was overwhelming, something even a typical 4-star Do Xian could not easily contend with. Xiao was eager to see just how formidable the ghost queen truly was. However, as the soul python roared and charged toward the red-clothed figure, something strange occurred. As it approached within several dozen meters of her, it suddenly quieted down. A few breaths later, it dissolved into countless fragments of powder, dissipating entirely into the ghost graveyard. Gulp. At this moment, Xiao swallowed hard. It was only now that he realized the ghost queen's power, though at the 4-star Do Xian level, far exceeded his own in terms of soul strength. Soul power, upon reaching the immortal realm, is further divided into 3 stages: Great Void, Essence Transformation, and Divine Travel. Each stage is divided into early, mid, and late phases. While the differences between these levels may appear minor, they are, in truth, worlds apart. This woman has soul power at the late stage of the immortal realm, Great Void. I'm barely at the mid-stage. The gap between us is not just 2 levels. It's compounded by the disparity in our Do Qi. This is going to be a serious challenge. Observing how effortlessly the soul python had been defeated, Xiao spoke in a low voice, clearly aware of the dire situation if he couldn't find a way to counter the ghost queen. Little one, I don't wish to kill you, but since you insist, don't blame me. Moments later, the red-clothed figure's body became ethereal, and an indescribable ripple began to spread outward. 7-layer spirit palace? 3 layers already filled? Watching the red-clothed figure's actions and sensing the violent trembling of her 3-layer spirit palace, Xiao could feel the immense soul power radiating from her. If she succeeded in condensing it, his defeat would be inevitable. As the ghost queen acted, countless gray tombstones and burial mounds across the ghost graveyard began to wail mournfully, seemingly triggered by her attack. Sigh, forget it. At this chaotic moment, a weary voice from the devourer of souls echoed from within Xiao. This, the red-clothed figure, poised to deliver a fatal blow to Xiao, froze when the ancient voice rang out. Beneath her veil, her expression became odd as she exclaimed, "Soul invasion? It's been ages, and you're still as terrifying as ever." Moments later, a dark mist emanated from Xiaoyan's body. As it spread, an overwhelming, devouring force filled the void of the ghost graveyard. The mist coalesced into the form of a middle-aged man. His burly frame, combined with his ancient voice, exuded a seemingly ordinary appearance, but beneath this facade was a power capable of annihilating worlds. The devourer of souls? Master, how are you here? Seeing the spectral figure before her, the red-clothed figure's attack shattered as she cried out in shock. Soul invasion? Xiao, witnessing the scene, felt a weight lift off his shoulders, but still muttered in slight confusion. Master, how are you here? Once again, the ghost queen's voice trembled as her figure appeared alongside the devourer of souls in the void of the ghost graveyard. When the master of ferocious souls attacked our soul-devouring domain, I was ambushed and left gravely injured, forcing me to drift away from the domain. Fortunately, this young man encountered me along the way. Master, it's truly a relief that you're unharmed. Hearing the Devourer of Souls speak so nonchalantly, the Ghost Queen couldn't hide her excitement. Ling Qi, during the Great War back then, because of me, our soul-devouring domain suffered heavy losses. I've let you all down. The Devourer of Souls shook his head as he looked at the loyal Ling Qi before him. Master, you're wrong. In the ghost realm, there is no one as righteous and noble as you. Even if we were to vanish completely, it would be worth it. This time, our soul-devouring domain will make the ferocious soul domain pay the price. The Ghost Queen's voice burned with determination as she looked at the Devourer of Souls before her. The Ghost Queen had always been a powerful figure within the soul-devouring domain. However, during that great war, she had been captured by experts from the ferocious soul domain. Due to her unique powers, she couldn't be easily destroyed and was instead sealed and suppressed, much like the soul phantom of Icefire Island had been in certain locations within the ferocious soul domain. This is my fourth disciple, Xiao. He hails from the Xiao clan. After a moment, the Devourer of Souls looked at Xiao and spoke with a smile. Your fourth disciple? The Ghost Queen was stunned upon hearing this. The Devourer of Souls was a figure of immense power, one of the true elites of the ghost realm, and a titan of the soul-devouring domain. His status could rank among the highest in the Great Thousand Worlds. For someone of his caliber to take on a disciple was a testament to that individual's extraordinary talent. The Xiao clan? Xiao clan? The Ghost Queen's delicate hand flew to her mouth, her voice muffled in shock. The Xiao clan. Those two words carried a special magic that could shake countless powerhouses across the Great Thousand Worlds. The Xiao clan's name represented a near-peak existence in the Great Thousand Worlds. Though the clan had loyal allies, they also faced mortal enemies determined to destroy them. Fortunately, most strong figures in the soul-devouring domain maintained amicable ties with the Xiao clan. This little one. How unexpected that he is so mysterious. But hasn't the Xiao clan already disappeared? After her initial shock, the Ghost Queen gradually regained her composure. This time, our goal in entering the Earth Spirit Tower is to restore my original soul power. Soon, the day will come when the soul-devouring domain wages true war against the ferocious soul domain. The Devourer of Souls' voice carried a divine authority, descending like a decree of judgment. Master, a war between the two domains is no trivial matter and must not be taken lightly. Besides, the Ghost Queen spoke hurriedly, unable to hold back her concern. The most pressing issue now was to restore the Devourer of Souls' strength and safely escort him back to the soul-devouring domain. Only after regrouping would it be appropriate to exact vengeance. Don't worry. Xun'er has already led some of our main forces from the soul-devouring domain to covertly head this way. The prestige of our soul-devouring domain must be washed clean with the blood of the ferocious soul domain's powerhouses. His thunderous voice echoed like a rolling storm. Master, you are truly wise. Seeing the confidence in the Devourer of Souls, the Ghost Queen spoke with reverence. For now, let's grant this little one some strength. After all, the Earth Spirit Tower from here on out will rely on him. Concluding their brief conversation, the Devourer of Souls turned his attention to Xiao. Come here, little one. The Ghost Queen's voice softened as she fixed her gaze on Xiao. Sister Ling Qi, heh. Xiao chuckled. Seeing the Ghost Queen so amiable, it was clear that her time suppressed in the Earth Spirit Tower by the ferocious soul domain's experts had allowed her to amass numerous treasures over the years. You sure have a sweet tongue. According to the rules of the Earth Spirit Tower, you must defeat me to obtain my power. But since you're the Master's fourth disciple, I'll make an exception this once. The Ghost Queen smiled. With a thunderous boom, an immense tide of soul power erupted from beneath the Ghost Queen's feet, sweeping across the entire ghost graveyard. Master, please step back for now. I'll shield your presence from the senses of the Earth Spirit Hall's powerhouses to prevent your location from being revealed. The Ghost Queen spoke softly after a moment. Understood. With a hum, the Devourer of Souls' form flowed back into Xiao. As soon as the Devourer of Souls disappeared, The countless gray-white gravestones and tombs within the ghost graveyard suddenly exploded with terrifying waves of indescribable energy. These forces converged toward the center in pure streams of power. Simultaneously, it felt as if something within the first level of the Earth Spirit Tower had been severed. The first level of the Earth Spirit Tower, the Ghost Graveyard. I recall that this is the Ghost Queen's domain. Why has contact suddenly been lost? These soul-devouring domain experts have been getting increasingly restless lately. This individual's strength is extremely obscure, and few people know that he is, in fact, the Deputy Dean of the Earth Hall. Buzz buzz. A few minutes later, within the Ghost Graveyard, countless grayish-white tombstones crumbled into dust, leaving the land smooth and unmarked. However, atop the soul-red tombstone in the Ghost Graveyard, a faint cyan orb of light slowly emerged. This is the ghost source. Ghosts are similar to soul entities. You can directly absorb it to effortlessly break through to the peak of the mid-stage of the Great Void Realm in soul power. With a weak tone, the Ghost Queen casually tossed the orb to Xiao, clearly exhausted from condensing it. Thanks. Xiao accepted it without hesitation, sitting cross-legged in mid-air. He swallowed the ghost source, and immediately, waves of pure soul energy surged into his spirit palace, rapidly filling the second layer of his 9-layered spirit palace. This is the power of devouring. You cannot reveal this yet. When the horn sounds, you can use it to easily break through the suppressive force here. Additionally, with your current soul power, you should be able to contact some of our powerhouses in the soul-devouring domain. Regardless of where they are, if you can reach them, we can rescue them this time. This battle is one we cannot afford to lose. As Xiao focused on absorbing the soul power, the master of ferocious souls spoke gravely. I understand. As the two discussed their plans with urgency, Xiao second layer of the spirit palace was gradually filled, and his soul power advanced steadily from the peak of the mid-stage of the Great Void Realm to the late stage of the Great Void Realm. Time passed, 10 days went by. During these 10 days, the Master of Ferocious Souls and the Ghost Queen were immersed in strategizing the details of their offensive, while Xiao focused entirely on absorbing the ghost source. Phew. So, this is the soul power of the late stage of the Great Void Realm? With this soul power, I now have enough confidence to become a 5th-tier immortal-grade alchemist. I should find an opportunity to break through in alchemy. Back on the continent of Dodi, the conveniences brought by alchemy are highly enticing. Xiao mused with a smile as the third layer of his spirit palace emitted a dazzling radiance. In the ghost realm, Xiao had no desire to attract unnecessary attention, so he refrained from revealing his status as an alchemist. However, back on the continent of Dodi, such an identity would undoubtedly provide significant advantages. Previously, Xiao soul power had only reached the mid-stage of the Great Void Realm, with just one layer of the spirit palace ignited. But with the ghost source bestowed by the Ghost Queen, not only had his soul power advanced, but both the second and third layers of his spirit palace had been lit. Moreover, his previous encounter with the Ghost Queen gave him insight into the immense soul power within his spirit palace, revealing it to be an invaluable trump card. With the Ghost Queen's guidance, Xiao became increasingly adept at utilizing the spirit palace's capabilities. That should be enough. For someone his age to reach the late stage of the Great Void Realm in soul power, this boy truly lives up to his heritage as a descendant of the Xiao clan. But the burdens on his shoulders are equally heavy. His journey ahead will be long. The Master of Ferocious Souls smiled faintly as he observed Xiao manipulating the vast, formless soul power with ease. You're absolutely right, my lord. The Ghost Queen, her expression concealed beneath her veil, revealed a trace of amazement. Xiao extraordinary patience and comprehension in devouring the ghost source, despite her having suppressed its violent nature, were remarkable. Teacher, Sister Lingqi. After adjusting his aura, Xiao stood up and addressed the two with a smile, a hint of satisfaction in his tone. Soul power was one of the most challenging aspects of cultivation, and without countless opportunities, his progress would have been far slower. Since we're done here, let's move on. The matters here are in your hands now. The master of ferocious souls cast a brief glance at the desolate ghost graveyard before speaking. It was clear he was eager for the items that could restore his original power. Only by regaining his strength could the battle between the two domains commence in full force. Otherwise, the conflict would remain unresolved. After all, the Master of Ferocious Souls knew that an opponent of the Master of Ferocious Souls. The entrance to the next level is here. Upon hearing this, the Ghost Queen bowed to the Devourer of Souls with what appeared to be the highest courtesy unique to the soul-devouring domain. Moments later, she flicked her finger, releasing a ghostly energy that shot skyward from her body, weaving obscure fluctuations in the void above. Clatter! In the next instant, the void before them suddenly turned illusory, and a ghostly passage abruptly appeared. "Let's go," the Devourer of Souls said, transforming into a streak of light that merged into Xiao Yan's body. "Senior Ling Qi, farewell." Xiao Yan clasped his hands respectfully toward the Ghost Queen and then stepped directly into the passage, disappearing from the ghost graveyard and heading toward the second level of the Earth Spirit Tower. "Little one, to be chosen as the Master's disciple is a great fortune for you. However, regarding the Xiao clan, your journey ahead will undoubtedly be long. The Earth Spirit Tower contains the mysterious power of the Chaos attribute, so I can't say where it will send you. But it's said that the deepest part of the tower contains something fixed. Good luck. I must also complete the task assigned to me by the Master." As her voice faded, the area returned to calm. Yet, with the Ghost Queen's vast soul power, some of the old followers of the Devourer of Souls began to emerge, subtly revealing themselves. The soul-devouring domain's assault on the ferocious soul domain slowly began to unfold. Meanwhile, stepping out of the ghost graveyard into the spatial passage, Xiao Yan found himself in a void of endless darkness. The mysterious power of chaos surged, putting him on high alert. This was a spatial passage infused with chaos attribute energy. Here, Xiao Yan's strength was greatly suppressed, leaving him at the mercy of the pervasive spatial forces. Moreover, he had no idea where he would be sent. Thud. Suddenly, a sound like shattering crystal echoed through the dark passage. A powerful suction force from the edge of the space pulled Xiao Yan in. The second level of the Earth Spirit Tower. Feeling the irresistible force, Xiao Yan nodded slightly and did not resist. He understood that the Chaos attribute's power was beyond his current capabilities to oppose. Whoosh whoosh. After a burst of eerie energy swept over him, Xiao Yan's surroundings dissolved into the spatial passage, and he found himself in a completely unfamiliar place. Where is this? Having been dragged by the mysterious force and blinded by an intense light, Xiao Yan squinted as the light faded, muttering to himself. Before him was a desolate land. Barren mountains, forests, and soil hinted at the dangers lurking in this forsaken region. What is this? Buzz, buzz, buzz. Moments later, Xiao Yan raised his head, and his immense soul power spread like a spring, revealing the entire area. It was a vast landform, barren soil, decayed forest vegetation, a seemingly abandoned and forgotten place. Is this the Dragon Ground? The Devourer of Souls' voice emerged, tinged with astonishment. The Dragon Ground? Startled by the Devourer of Souls' reaction, Xiao Yan couldn't help but ask. The next moment, as he raised his eyes again, a sense of dread filled his heart. Above the barren land, a massive dark red coffin stood silently in the void. Surrounding it was the faint figure of an azure dragon over 1,000 feet long, flickering in and out of sight. At the very moment Xiao Yan saw this, the dragon god's first and second transformations within his body were triggered involuntarily, as if responding to an imminent and deadly threat. What on earth is that? Xiao Yan stood silently on the desolate ground, struggling to lift his head to gaze at the imposing dark red coffin and the immense dragon shadow, murmuring to himself. In this place, the 1,000-foot-long dragon appeared vividly lifelike, its form teetering between reality and illusion. Surrounding it, layers of eerie energy swirled, as though clouds and mist were rising. Its eyes remained tightly shut as if in deep slumber, while its body, adorned with razor-sharp claws, seemed to be guarding against some unseen threat. This is the dragon ground, the resting place of dragons. However, this being doesn't seem to belong to the true dragon clan. Dragons in the Great Thousand Worlds are towering existences. Even in death, the elders of the dragon clan would do everything to retrieve their remains for burial within the clan. The dragon clan treasures every part of their bodies and would never allow human hands to claim them. For a dragon's remains to be left outside the clan's burial grounds is a disgrace to them. The Devourer of Souls, now a wisp of black light, hovered around Xiao, explaining, "Dragonblood Martial Emperor. It seems that's really the case," the Devourer of Souls muttered as he slowly nodded. "Dragonblood Martial Emperor, if I recall correctly, according to the records left by Martial Uncle Golden Dragon King. This person wasn't originally from the Dragon Clan, but was a human. By a twist of fate, he absorbed dragon blood, which caused a mutation in his body, turning him into a powerful being with dragon blood. His strength is roughly at the 5-star Docian level. However, the dragon blood flowing through him and the dragon-related records he holds have been coveted by countless humans. I didn't expect to encounter him here in the Earth Spirit Tower." Xiao spoke calmly, staring at the void before him. The dragon god that Xiao was cultivating within his body was already a genuine treasure of the dragon clan. If he could obtain some artifacts from the Dragonblood Martial Emperor, it would undoubtedly greatly benefit his cultivation of the 9 transformations of the dragon god. After all, when cultivated to its peak, the 9 transformations of the dragon god was said to rival the existence of the dragon god itself. In the Great Thousand Worlds, anything associated with the word God would inevitably attract countless humans. Naturally, the name Dragon God carried immense allure as well. "There seems to be something inside that dark red coffin," Xiao muttered after a moment. His eyes burned with curiosity as he sensed faint fiery fluctuations from within the coffin through the massive dragon shadow. These fluctuations were somewhat similar to the 9 transformations of the dragon god within him, though too indistinct for him to confirm. "Awaken him? He is likely the guardian of the 2nd level of the Earth Spirit Tower, and that dark red coffin is probably the treasure here," the Devourer of Souls said after a moment's thought. "A 5-star Docian, and one imbued with dragon blood at that. This is terrifyingly powerful," Xiao murmured nervously, hearing the Devourer of Souls' explanation. The Dragon Clan was one of the most formidable races in the Great Thousand Worlds, boasting unparalleled strength in both defense and offense. Naturally, the Dragonblood Martial Emperor's power far surpassed that of an ordinary 5-star Docian. "Awaken," the Devourer of Souls commanded. A wisp of black chi surged from his fingertip, striking the colossal illusory dragon shadow. Roar! Suddenly, the 1,000 Zhonglong dragon's eyes snapped open, releasing an earth-shaking roar. The sound wave rippled outward like a tidal surge. "Damn it!" Seeing this, Xiao expression turned cautious as he fixed his gaze on the massive dragon shadow before him. "Human die!" The newly awakened dragon shadow bellowed in rage, its draconic eyes glaring at Xiao, furious at having its slumber disturbed. Dragon God's first transformation. Without hesitation, Xiao activated the Dragon God's first transformation. A faint golden glow began to flow across his body. However, Xiao quickly realized that as his strength grew, so did the strength of his opponents. The enhancements from the first transformation, along with the dragon sense from the second transformation, were no longer sufficient to handle his increasingly powerful enemies. Roar! The next moment, an ominous azure dragon flame surged from the dragon's mouth like a meteor, carrying the destructive force of the void and an intense heat as it shot toward Xiao. "This is too strong," Xiao muttered, his face growing solemn. With his powerful soul perception, he knew he could barely handle this attack with his current strength. Buzz, buzz, buzz. In an instant, Xiao sprang into action. The Dragon God's first transformation, combined with his flame-swallowing technique and explosive fire technique, dramatically increased his speed and power as he desperately raced against the oncoming dragon flame. Insignificant human, daring to disturb this emperor's slumber, unforgivable. The 1,000 Zhonglong dragon roared furiously as it watched Xiao Yin flee like a hunted animal under the onslaught of its dragon flame. The massive dragon shadow's body appeared peculiar, with eerie black qi resembling ghostly energy spreading across its translucent form, giving it a sinister and frightening appearance. These oppressive forces seemed to be weakening the Dragon Blood Martial Emperor's power, leaving him at only the peak of 4-star Do Xian, far from his original 5-star Do Xian level. Wait, Dragon God's second transformation, Dragon Sense? Xiao Yin suddenly exclaimed as he fled, struck by an idea. So, you've decided to stop running? Then perish. Seeing Xiao Yin halt abruptly, the massive dragon shadow wasted no time. A blazing azure dragon flame began to gather in its maw, radiating intense heat as it swirled like a sprite. The immense power of the flame caused the barren land to tremble as if it could shatter the void and consume the earth itself. Dragon God's second transformation, Dragon Sense. Xiao Yin remained composed, closing his eyes as the cultivation route of the 9 transformations of the Dragon God began to circulate within his body. A surge of overwhelming golden power quietly spread across him. This Dragon God's 9 transformations is indeed peculiar. However, this dragon-like aura doesn't seem particularly effective against the 9 suns under the Dragon God's command. After all, those beings possess the true power of dragon royalty. But for these petty tricksters who dabble in minor arts, it seems to have some remarkable effects, said the Devourer of Souls with a smile as he observed Xiao Yan's current state. Buzz buzz. Moments later, Xiao Yan's figure gradually vanished from this realm, and a massive golden dragon, standing over 1,000 feet tall, abruptly emerged from where he had disappeared. The golden dragon was clad in imposing golden scales, each one radiating an air of ancient might. The inscriptions etched onto the scales symbolized extraordinary power, exuding an invisible pressure befitting a supreme being. The Golden Dragon King, the first disciple under the Dragon God? How is this possible? The Dragon Blood Martial Emperor, witnessing the illusion before him and sensing the incredibly lifelike aura of a supreme being, slowly withdrew his 1,000-foot dragon form. His body transformed into the appearance of a middle-aged man, with cyan flames enveloping him.